Hi, I'm Amy Dee. I am a funny motivational speaker and I'm a registered nurse. So, as a nurse, I truly do understand the rewards and the challenges of being in healthcare. But today, with the COVID-19 pandemic, healthcare is especially challenging. It is especially demanding. So, I'm going to give you a tool that I use when things go wrong or when I feel overwhelmed and I notice myself slipping down into that pit of pessimistic thinking. And the good news is this tool is something that you can use at home or at work. It applies to a variety of circumstances. So as a nurse, I truly loved getting to know my patients. And so whenever possible, I would spend extra time. I'd pop in and spend extra time talking to them. But there were times when we were so slammed with admits, it just wasn't possible. So my patients still got great care, but I wasn't able to spend that extra time to really get to know them. And so at the end of my 12-hour shift, I would get into my car, I'd be exhausted, and I'd start thinking about my day. And pretty soon I'd start feeling guilty. To be honest, I'd feel guilty that I wasn't able to spend that extra time with my patients. And then I'd start thinking about my kids, and I'd think, well, you know what? I probably don't spend enough time with them either. And what about cleaning my house? When's the last time I did that? And I just start feeling guilty and feel badly about everything. So I'm not only a bad nurse now, I'm also a bad mom and I'm a bad housekeeper. In fact, I'm bad at everything. Nothing I do is right. My life is always out of control, and it's always going to be this way where I'm so busy. I can get pretty down on myself. And so during those times, I try to flip it by just using positive thinking, but that honestly didn't work very well for me. And so I was so happy when I started studying positive psychology, and I found out about the 3 P's of learned optimism. These were created by Dr. Martin Seligman. And what Seligman found is that the difference between people who are really skilled in optimism and people who were more pessimistic wasn't what happened to them. It was how they explained what happened to them, their explanatory style. And he specified 3 areas to be aware of. And the first area is personal, the second is pervasive, and the third is permanent. So let's start with the first P. That's personal. So Seligman found that optimists don't automatically take the blame when something goes wrong. They are responsible for what they need to be responsible for, but they don't take all the blame for everything. They look at outside circumstances that may have contributed to what went wrong. On the other hand, pessimists automatically take the blame for everything that goes wrong. They shoulder the burden of everything. So when it comes to personal, you want to flip from personal to impersonal. And you can do that by changing your inner self-talk from using I to using my. So in the case I was talking about, instead of saying I wasn't able to spend extra time with my patients, I would say my schedule, my patient load didn't allow me the extra time to spend with my patients. So go from personal to impersonal by switching I to my. So the second P is pervasive. And so what Seligman found is pessimists allow one bad event, something that goes wrong, to leak in and pollute other areas of their life. So when it comes to pervasive, you want to go from pervasive to specific. And you can use that by changing your language from everything or nothing to this thing, So remember how I went from being a bad nurse to a bad mom and bad at housekeeping and bad at everything. In this case, I want to quarantine the event I'm talking about. I was talking about my shift at work and the amount of time I spent with my patients. My mothering, housekeeping, nothing else. It has nothing to do with that. So to shift from pervasive, go to specific by using words, instead of using words like always or nothing, shift to this thing. And the last is permanence. And you want to go from permanent to impermanent. So instead of me saying everything is wrong and it's always going to be, nothing is ever going to go right, I have to shift my language, because you know what? Everything always changes. Nothing lasts forever. Everything changes. Even Velveeta cheese doesn't last forever. So, my challenge to you is that next time you start feeling yourself slip into that pit of negativity, back up and watch your language. Watch how you're thinking about the event. Go from personal to impersonal by shifting your inner talk from I to my. Go from pervasive to specific. From, instead of using words like everything or nothing, use this thing. And go from permanent to impermanent by avoiding words such as always or never. So I want to end with telling you that I have always been so proud to have been in the healthcare world. And I am glad that the entire world is now recognizing healthcare workers for their courage, for their compassion, and for their commitment to their fellow human beings. But the truth is, you have always deserved this praise. So my heart is with you. It's with you today, and it will be with you when all of this calms down. I am proud of you, and I am so, so grateful to you. Stay safe.